Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited because today we are going to touch upon the third and the last step of the method, which is find out what you need to do differently. That is all you need to do in the third step. And since you have identified the pattern, you have acknowledged it and accepted it, this is supremely easy. You are almost 80-90% through the method, all right? And this is just the last 10-20% of the work. We sometimes could just need a little bit of more objective thinking and courage. Last two videos, we looked at step 1 and step 2 of the methodology. Now, step 1 was identifying the pattern. Over here, we move from the victim to the observer. Step 2 was acknowledging the pattern and accepting it, where we move from an observer to an originator. Now, in step 3, we are going to move from the originator to the doer. So, finally, we are actually going to move from a place where we thought we were the victim and things were happening to us to a place where we are actually in control and we know what we're supposed to do, we know what we're doing for the better, to bring that change for the better in our lives. In step 3, we are going to identify what we need to change. We are supposed to identify the action that we will be doing in an event that we encounter the same scenario again. All right. As always, ask yourself the right questions. How do you know what you need to do differently? Now, ask yourself, what was that action in the entire pattern that actually did not come from a place of love? So something that came from a place of fear, or you did something because you thought that if I don't do this, something might go wrong. That is an action that is coming from a place of fear and not from a place of love. It's not coming from a place of you actually wanting to do something. So what was that action where you did not exercise your free will? What was that action or that chance where you typically do not speak up for yourself and you think that it's not important? Like things like that. And that is it. And remember, okay, so if you want to narrow it down and to simplify it, remember we spoke about that one thing that you always do, the commonality between all the scenarios, that is your pattern, behavioral pattern. So that is exactly the thing we're looking at. So instead of that, what is it that you can do, and we might make these mind charts and trees in our head and just go like, if this happens and this, but at any point of time your decision is just two things. It's actually just like you just have two options: either you do something or you don't do something, right? And we make all these scenarios in our head, which is good to know. Like once you made the scenario, just be like, okay, but you've tried one route. Suppose you've tried one route and every time you thought that, if you did not do this, something would go wrong. And you always act out of fear. And then you reach a result which you do not like. And you've been doing that. Try something different, because 2 plus 2 is always going to give you 4. So if you want a 5, you cannot add a 2 to 2. You have to do 2 plus 3 gives you 5, right? Your input has to change for your output to change. So you need to know what is the input going to be. So you need to just understand what your input needs to be. So instead of 2, what do you need to do this time? What is your input supposed to be? For example, here I know if I want 5, my input should be 3. Similarly, you would just need to objectively understand what this has to be. And that is your step. Suppose my pattern is that I make decisions when I'm not ready for it. So if someone wants an answer so bad and I'm just like, okay, they want the answer and I'm giving the answer. So this time probably my action is just to not give the answer. If I don't have the answer, I'll just be like, I don't know. I do not have an answer right now. And that is my answer. That is my action. That's all I need to do. That is it. You just need to know. So in a scenario where you're currently in the cycle, you can actually do that and come out of the cycle. In a scenario where you're not in the cycle, whenever it comes, know that this time you know better. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to actually be afraid of subconsciously also, because sometimes at a subconscious level, deep down, we feel like we're not afraid, but deep down it's really tough for us. Like, why is it that after 2 bad jobs, it is difficult to get into the third new job? It is because you have gone through something so terrible twice, and you're afraid that what if it turns out like that the third time as well? Even with relationships, like, you have been in a bad relationship once, and the second time, each time it just gets a lot more tougher. And that just happens because somewhere deep down you have that fear, that, oh God, what if it repeats itself? But know that now that you are aware, you have learned your lesson, the outcome is not going to be the same. The outcome will change because the input will change. So if I do a 2 plus 3, I cannot and will not get a 4. Even if you've come out of the pattern multiple times and you're just paranoid or scared or apprehensive that you might encounter it again and you so do not want to, I am afraid you are going to encounter it most likely at least one more time. You might wonder, why will you encounter the same scenario again? There is a very high possibility that you do, because if this is a karmic lesson that you're supposed to learn, okay, if there is a cycle that you've been repeating in your life again and again and again, that cycle keeps on getting repeated till you actually break the cycle. For you to break the cycle, you need to be in the cycle. So if you've done this while you are actually in the cycle, this is your chance to break it and to make it right. But if you've somehow come out of the cycles, but you actually did not break it as such, and it's a major learning that you need in your life, you might encounter it again, this time just to make sure that you do it right, to actually see if that change has come in us, if we are actually being able to execute our learning. The universe is just going to send it to you, being like, okay, you think you know it and you've learned it, fine, let's see how you do this time. It's like a test, so you learn your lessons and then you give the examination. And suppose you gave an examination and you failed once, so you repeat the year, or you give another paper and you keep on giving the paper till you actually clear it, right? Similarly, that's exactly how it functions with the universe or in our lives as well. So if there is something that we have not done right the way we should have been doing, then it will come in our lives again and again till we actually do it right. So this is your chance. You've also been asking for it, every time you've been like, I wish I did this. So every time you say that, you're kind of wishing for it. You're wishing for the same scenario to come so that you can do that action you so wished you could do. Set the intention that you will do it the next time in the right manner, and you know what to do. So now you're calm and you have surrendered, and you could have other lessons to learn from this scenario, which could be entirely different. But we're trying to learn one lesson and move on from that lesson so that we move ahead in life, right? So your third step is just to find out what you need to do differently. That brings us to the end of the method. Now, you might have tons of patterns in life and you might have to go through this process again and again and again, and there are multiple tools that will then help you and that you can use in coming out of each pattern. It is not as easy as it sounds, and patterns could take months and years at times even to break entirely, but sometimes it could just happen like this. Okay, so because we're so used to being rational and objective, try to do that, and at the same time also tap into your emotional and your spiritual side to make everything just so that everything just comes together beautifully and you can move ahead in life. So I hope this has been helpful, and we are going to look at a lot more interesting things in the upcoming videos. Until then, I will see you later. Do hit the subscribe button and the notification bells. See you later. Bye bye.